Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Self-Love Show. Here we are weekly. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in weekly. And if you're new, this is us, the Self-Love Show. And with my co-host here, my beautiful co-host, Trish Wright.
Hi, everyone.
And we have an amazing guest today, our dear sister, Michelle Cummins. And I want to just read her bio real quick.
So, she changed her name recently.
Oh, excuse me, Champion. Forgive me. So yes, Michelle Champion is here with us today to really share about flower essences. So Michelle is going to walk us through healing our souls with flower essences. The essence of the flower has the same vibrant resonance of the human emotion. In this way, flower essences work with the subtle energies of the body to cultivate emotional healing and balancing the spiritual and mental well-being of the individual. So they are often used in conjunction with mental health therapies, bodywork, acupuncture, etc., and are used to address profound issues of emotional well-being, soul development, and mind-body health. So according to Flower Essences Services, the human being is more than a physical body, but also incorporates a body of life energy, or a body of sensitivity and feelings, and a spiritual essence of self. Flower essences are energetic imprints of the life force of plants, which interact with these subtle bodies of the human being and evoke specific qualities within us. We can say that they work in a similar way to inspirational music or art, which carry meaning through the vehicle of sound or light, while the flower essences work through the medium of water. This principle is known in physics as resonance. Just as a piano string will sound when its resonant note is sung, so our own soul chords respond to the soul notes of the flower essences which we need for our healing and growth. Unlike pharmaceutical drugs or conventional herbal medicines, the impact of the flower essences is not from direct physical or chemical intervention in our bodies. Flower essences work through the various human energy fields, which in turn influence mental, emotional, and physical well-being. That's so incredible. Flower essences therapy utilizes a precise understanding that the thoughts, feelings, and experiences of the human psyche are reflections of the same cosmic laws inherent in the growth patterns, shapes, colors, fragrances, and vital energies of nature, which are expressed in the flowering plant. So Michelle Champion practices traditional Chinese acupuncture. She is an acupuncturist, herbalist, and flower essence worker, body worker, and teaches classes that empower students with wisdom and tools for wellness. She graduated with a Master's of Science in Oriental Medicine from Samra University and was licensed by the state of California to practice acupuncture in 2008. Michelle founded and practiced clinical acupuncture at Cultivate Wellness Studio in Mendocino County for 13 years. She moved to Lakeport and began serving the Lake County community in February of 2019. Yay! Her gentle and caring healing arts style is dynamic and provides her patients the ability to ease into sessions, offering profound multi-level shifts towards wellness. She's grateful for the opportunity to serve the Lake County tribal health community. And welcome, Michelle. We're so excited to have you and share about this amazing, just delicious information about flower essences.
All right. Thank you, friends, for having me. It's been such a fun journey. I've known both of you for about 15 years. So as we progress, and we've just gained so many tools for providing opportunities for wellness for people. And this is this one really speaks to me, and I'm really excited to get to share it with the two of you and all of the viewers today.
I want to tell a little story about my journey to self-love regarding Michelle. So Michelle's always been and Dawn have always been like really amazing advocates for me as a stumbling around young woman. Like, I don't know where I was going, but I think they did. But they're like, hey, try this or go over here. Well, anyway, over the course of, I had gotten out of this really abusive relationship where I was abusive and where he was abusive, and we were just like, it was just not good for a long time. And Michelle gifted me something that was really, really profound. And at first I kind of was like, okay, whatever. But I really trusted her wisdom, and I trusted her love for me. And she gifted me this Yeah, she gifted me a flower essences little kit. It was like a tiny little self-love kit, and I was like, oh, she's like, it's for you, for your heart. And
I love that. It's so precious.
it really is. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to trust it. I'm just going to do the things. You know, at this moment in my life, a couple of my friends were like giving me little things to try. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to trust the wisdom of my friend's love. And she gave me this little packet of holly and this like little anointment oil that smelled like amazing. And she sat down with me. She's like, you just take it in your water every day. And when you feel like you need it, and you know, take the anointment oil and really give yourself an affirmation and rub it on your heart. And that was kind of the first, that was like what, a year and a half ago? And that was really my journey, the start of my journey into self-love. And the subtle energy of that just shifted the way that I was being, right?
With self.
With self. And that one was holly. She gifted me holly. That was a really profound heart opener for me, and I really appreciate that. I am now a convert to flower essences.
And what a catalyst, right? How that flower essence and Michelle's love, right, seeped together, really met your intention, because you were having an intention to open your heart even further to your own self-love. And so spirit met you in that way through this beautiful goddess here serving you by giving you a beautiful gift you didn't expect. That really, because I've watched you over the last year and a half and how much growth and capacity of unconditional love towards yourself and everything that's gone on, and so much healing of the patterns. I've witnessed it. I've been right by your side, holding your hand, supporting you, lots of deep conversations. I mean, lots of conversations. And it's been really incredible to just witness your growth, Trish. I really just acknowledge you and acknowledge your commitment to self and self-love. And I acknowledge you too, Michelle, for being the backbone, friendship, and sisterhood in Trish's life. Because she's just stepped up to like self-love on a whole level these last few years. I've watched her just diligently loving herself regardless of the outside circumstances. And it's just a delicious process to see.
She also gives me a lot of stability. Like she's constantly bringing me home. Like she's home. The C in your name stands for catalyst, and the friendship stands for home, stability. Anyway,
Beautiful.
Back to flower essences.
Yes.
We love you.
Yes, receive.
Just like all the flowers have medicine, we all have medicine, right? So maybe my action, my herbal or my medicinal action is that I'm a catalyst. And so I think that, you know, when we look at the flowers tell us, they show us, like our friends show us what their medicine is, and they imbue it, they infuse it into us. And so when we look at like the holly, right? So holly, the Latin of holly is holy, right? And they have these green berries and these bright waxy green leaves with these that come to these little points.
Sharp points, yeah.
Sharp points. So you're kind of like, you don't want to, right? So what the holly imbues is that it softens those points. It shows us that we have those points. Flower essences show us what our shadow is, and in a really loving way, and then allow us to, and then change our vibrational frequencies so that we can make those subtle and sometimes not so subtle shifts. And so the holly really is about infusing the holiness of yourself, the divinity within yourself, the divine love within yourself, so that you're not this like spiky person.
Well,
right?
What I gleaned from reading that whole beautiful description, well-written description today, was the word quality, right? That the essences are like a vibrational attunement from the plant, and it comes into our vibrational resonance and teaches us how to hold that quality, that vibrational resonance inside of ourselves. Because if you think about it, we're water. Like our bodies are water. So of course it's going to just organically infuse in there and teach you how to mentally, vibrationally, spiritually attune to that inside of yourself subtly. And it's great. I actually want to reach out to you and get some after the show. Like I would love to
That would be great. I would love to
be supportive.
A telehealth session with you. One of the things, just to let people know, is Dawn did ask me if I wanted to give a link or something, and I do offer telehealth sessions and in-person sessions here in Lakeport. And what does a session look like? Well, it's a conversation, and we just conversate with the flowers, literally, and in a few different ways. It's attunement, and I've learned over the years. I'm a botanist. I've worked for the National Forest Service. I've worked for, I managed the European Native Plant Nursery. I've managed acres of medicinal herb farms at the Yerba Women's Herbal Apprenticeship Program, where I was a teacher and a principal, and I'm an acupuncturist. So I have a really deep connection with the plant world. And it goes beyond science and spirit into soul. So
Yes.
Yes.
I really agree with you there.
For me, it really just shifted, like some interpersonal work is work. A lot of it is just, it sometimes can feel like a lot of work. And this just felt like a security blanket. It was warm, it was easy, and it just shifted things, and I didn't have to think about it. You know what I mean? It was an easy integration into my life, and felt so rewarding. I love holly, and I love I still use the, and she made me one just recently. I wonder, I brought it with me when I was traveling, but around really aligning my leadership to my soul's purpose, the masculine, feminine, the balance of leadership is really what it was. Let me go find it.
That was a great lesson. While she's doing that, let's meet a flower.
Okay.
So last year when I got married, I'm gonna change my name to Champion. I grew a flower garden because I wanted to grow I wanted to grow my bouquets. So I grew all the flowers for the bouquet, even though it was a COVID wedding, and it was just Trish and my husband and I, and then the rest of the world was there through Zoom and virtually. But anyway, so I grew the flowers. I grew amaranth. I grew 4 different types of amaranth: green, Love Lies Bleeding, the elephant head, the dreadlocks, all the different kinds. And then I grew all of the lime zinnias, the blush lime zinnias, and I grew the green bells of Ireland.
Oh, they're beautiful. Wow.
Right. So what you see is that they're green, right? But this bell, the bell is actually a modified leaf. And then you see in here that little flower inside the leaf there, right?
Yeah.
So it has those 2 little petals in it, right?
That's so awesome.
So the green bells of Ireland, and then there's little spikes along the whorls. See how the bells kind of grow in rings around it. So there's little spikes around the rings. But so the first thing we notice about the plant is that it's green, and there's a bunch of different windows of perception for communicating with the flower. With the flowers, there's shape and orientation and time and space and plant family and it's the environment that it grows in. Well, this one, we're just going to look at the color, right? So it's green. And green flowers are always, or most of the time, have to do with the earthly aspects of the soul, like how the soul relates to the body or how the soul relates to the earth, or, if people are really airy, it kind of pulls us back into earth.
So you're saying Vata types, if you're going off the doshas, right? Ayurvedic, like Vata, Pitta, Kapha, like Vatas could use green.
Yeah,
green.
definitely. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, right. And that's a great point because I can apply the flower essences to anything. I can apply them to a relationship. I can apply them to the land. I can apply them to creating a garden, a situation, my soul, anything that has soul. And hey, guess what? What doesn't?
All of it.
Right? So the green bells of Ireland have this modified leaf that's a bell, right? And the bell is like kind of like a container. And because these face outward, these face laterally, it's about like the earth, right? There's ones that face down, or it's about, the green is about our body, right? So there's heaven, human, earth, and these face out on the human plane. The ones that face down, like manzanita, Calicornis albus, the white lily, or the, those are about like really earthly, and then the ones that face up, like that are cups, like the Mariposa lily or the California poppy, those are about like spirit, right? So this one faces out, so it's about our interaction on the human plane.
Fascinating.
And we have this green bell that holds the human, and so inside the flower, this little flower is actually, it represents us, right? That little white flower inside of there. And so what Green Bells of Ireland is really about, it's really about us being, our soul becoming embodied on this earth. You meet a lot of people, and you may, so as I'm talking about the essences, you may think like, someone may come into mind for an essence, and everyone has a type essence. But the green bells of Ireland really are about incarnating the body, incarnating the soul into the body, expressing the soul through the earthly realm, through the body realm, right? So we have the green bells of Ireland.
Gorgeous.
And with the flower essences, when we use them, oftentimes I will use affirmation to help them really take root and really resonate more. And so FES, Flower Essence Services in Nevada City, Richard Katz and Patricia Kaminsky, who wrote this book, The Flower Essence Repertory. This is like the handbook. This is a great book to learn about flower essences, and it's a great book just to expand your emotional vocabulary. There's like the basics, like fear, joy, worry, and then those basic emotions, and then it expands out from there, so you can really become emotionally vocabulary, like you're equipped, literate, right? So yes. So Flower Essence Services makes these cards that are also a really great way. You can do cartomancy by divining and picking a card to come up with what flower essence you use. It's a great way to choose an essence. But they give affirmations. And so the Green Bells of Ireland is: the wild wonder of nature awakens me. The vital voice of the earth sings me alive. The elemental rippling within creation rouses me. I'm fully embodied within Earth's great green body. I'm fully embodied within Earth's great green body. So that, so the fact that the Bells of Ireland volunteered themselves, I don't know if I got to that point, but they volunteered themselves in our garden this year from last year's garden, and they just started coming up. I was like, oh, I think that's one of the plants that I probably need to work with. And it totally is. I think just with COVID and moving and getting married and all these things, I got out of my body and into my head. So I made the Bells of Ireland flower essence, and I'm taking it. Would you like to take some with me, Trish? Yes. Okay.
That's awesome.
So the way that the essence is taken is by really focusing, on your affirmation. So I am fully embodied within the earth's great green body. And I'm just shaking, awakening the essence and enlivening it and potentizing it with this affirmation, with this intention. And then right, that's connecting to the plant Vedas. And then we do 4 drops into water, right? 1, 2, 3.
I love our guests. She's like, dose us all, Amanda. Thank you for saying that. It's true.
Thank you, Amanda.
Really dosing us all.
We're going to.
right?
Well, Michelle will be teaching flower essences classes, wink, wink. So
Yeah.
hold on. We just got a new office together here in Lakeport. So
yeah, I'm teaching a class this weekend, a 9-hour class, and it's like the basics. And then I also have like an advanced practitioners class that I teach as well. So now that we have the essences in our water, we're going to drink it.
Nice.
Mm. And thank you for bringing up the dose us all thing, because you don't even need to really take them into your body. You can spray them into your environment. When I ran Ecstatic Dance Mendo, I made a spray, and I would spray the floor before everyone came in, and it was like soul creativity and movement and embodiment. Those were the themes of essences that I would spray on the floor, and really I thought it lifted the ecstatic dance to even more ecstatic levels.
Beautiful.
You put it in your bath. You can put it in your creams. There's one particular essence named Pretty Face, and it's a flower that grows in the Sierras, so it's a native Californian plant. And what do you see?
It's just very vivacious. You know what I mean? It's like an eye almost. It's like, hello. You know.
That hello, like it, and that's what it is. It's about taking your internal beauty and letting it radiate out, right? And
can I read
yeah, and you can read and so this one, Flower Essence Services in Nevada City, my teachers, they've made a self-heal cream that has self-heal and Pretty Face and a few other, or maybe it doesn't have Pretty Face. I always added Pretty Face to it, but a few other creams. So you can use it in body care. It's lovely. Yeah, what's the affirmation for that one, Trish?
They're so cute.
They're tiny.
I'm like, I accept all parts of myself. Here, for all of our listeners and our reviewers, I invite you to really take in the essence of this plant, of this Pretty Face, and repeat. I'll take some time in between. I accept all parts of myself.
I accept all parts of myself.
Light shines through darkness and pain.
Light shines through the darkness and pain.
My whole self is my beautiful self.
My whole self is my beautiful self.
I am this shining star.
I am this shining star. This is perfect. When I've worked with a couple teenagers with acne, and this was profound.
Wow.
Profound. Those were some of the earlier, like, profound, things. Acne's hard to work with teenagers. Like, you can change what you're eating, you can change your mood, you can change all these things.
Yeah.
The vibrational resonance really shifted for them.
It makes so much sense to me. I had a past incarnation of being a massage therapist for many years, and I used to do not flower essences, but essential oil. I used to do essential oil and affirmation, acupressure attunement in my massage practice when I did it. So I'm very aware of flower essences and how powerful essential oils are, and I'm a definite advocate and user of them. I've used them all my life, and they really do work when you use those acupressure points and you tune in. And even the book by Louise Hay, you can heal your life, you can heal your body. If you have a body issue and you're looking up what's going on for your body, like I literally was just looking at that book this past week, yesterday actually, for my own self, because I've been struggling with allergies so bad over this season. So I was like, wonder what that is. So yeah, I think it's great to just use these resources and support ourselves in whatever the shift that's going on for our emotional, spiritual well-being and our physical self as well.
Yeah, that brought up two things for me. One is that oftentimes when I say flower essences, people will think of essential oils, and the way they differ is that they're kind of like on opposite ends of the spectrum, but they work very similarly in the body on the essential oil work on the olfactory, and then this one the essences work on the vibrational plane. But to make like an ounce of essential oils, it takes a ton of
material.
And to make a flower essence, it takes one flower and a bowl of water to make thousands of doses. So
Wow.
it's essential medicine. It's vibrational. The way that the essences are made are you take with, I mean, like this, the Bells of Ireland one that I made was, I mean, I mean, I didn't know it, but I started making it when I started thinking about growing my bouquet for my wedding, and then we grew the flowers, and I made bouquets all year long, and then it came back up, and then and then I sat with the one from the time it sprouted up, like, what is that start? I don't know. It's volunteering itself, and it came up, and I recognized it one day as Bell's Violin, and I watched this plant grow, and it's the biggest one in our garden out here, and you know, so all of that was infused into this essence that I made, and then so the actual like process to make the essences are you take a sacred vessel, a clear crystal bowl with sacred spring water, and the first and sometimes morning dew and the first sunlight, and you take a leaf of the plant and you pick the perfect like bee flower that you watch go from bud into flower. And when that flower is perfectly ripe and ready, you pick that flower and you put it in. And then the sun infuses onto it while you're praying over it and giving it love. For like 4 hours, the sun will infuse it. And then you'll see the flowers start to wilt a little bit. And that's because it's given its essence into the water. And if you look at like Masaru Emoto's work, who did all amazing work on water, like two bottles of water, and one you say love, 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 and the other one you say
yes,
and not so good things, you know, and then you look at the physical structure of the water. The love is this like sacred geometrical shape, and the other one is broken. But you know what? You can put a flower essence in that, and it restructures. So that being said, the way that it affects our physical body, and that's what you mentioned using essential oils in massage, while flower essences are for the soul, they also work on the spiritual level. Like people who are rigid, you can give them willow so they can bend. I also made a dandelion flower essence recently, and the dandelion helps ease tension from the soul that's held in the muscles. So it works on the physical plane through the soul.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I also want to bring up a point that you've taught me a lot of is really paying attention to the flowers and to the plants that you're attracted to. So like there's one that I like glee out about, and it's borage. I love I don't know what it is about this plant, but the like furriness, and it's so soft and it's just gorgeous, and it has this like, oh god, it's like fairies will sit on the little hairs and like fairy party. I don't know what it is, but I just adore that plant.
Borage is for courage. Borage is really very much a heart medicine. And the hairs actually have silica in it. So silica is what glass is made out of. So it's like this, so it gives us this like a relationship to its environment, but it also gives us like a window pane into the like you know like and it also fractalizes and all of the things that glass does, containers and all that stuff. It's like that's how it grows in the, you know, and then the borage is also kind of like this blue purplish, which kind of speaks to this like royal emperor of the heart type of medicine.
Gorgeous.
It's so did you say borageous?
Gorgeous.
I gorgeous. I was like, oh, I'm gonna borrow that.
Gorgeous.
Wow. Yes. Yeah, bringing it back to like paying attention to the things that you really are really attracted to it and looking those up. Michelle even has just given me a book to help me read about the plants and read about the flowers and just sit with, I mean, and whoever wrote this book, oh my God, has the most amazing languaging. I was like, wow, these people are amazing. Yes, it's this book. It's stunning read just for heart-centered reading.
I want to speak to my lineage. My lineage is, you know, well, like in Egypt and you know Greek herbalism, they all infused flowers into water and essential oils, and so the use of flowers is not anything that new. But the actual flower essences were founded by Dr. Bach in the 30s and 40s, who was a naturopath in Europe, and he was actually making vaccine nosodes from energetic homeopathic like reductions of plants and animal and minerals, and he had a booming naturopath business, and he was kind of over it, and then he started just working with the flowers, and he gave up his illustrious career to move to the countryside and work with the flowers, and he created the Bach 34 or the original 38 Bach essences. And so Dr. Bach made those essences, and you might have heard of Bach's Rescue Remedy. It's like one of the go-to in your purse anytime you have any kind of transition, fright, shock, fear. It's great. I always keep it on hand. And then these teachers, Patricia Kaminsky and Richard Katz, who wrote this book, and they have flower essence services in Nevada City, which is where I trained, and I purchased a lot of flower essences from them as well. They're organic and biodynamic certified, and they're amazing. So I really, and that's my lineage. So if you study with me, that's our lineage, and just by being here, that's our lineage, because this wisdom comes from them and from the flowers. And it's, I think it's a lot like Chinese medicine. People are like, how did people create this system of medicine? It wasn't created. It was understood or found or downloaded. It's always been there. And when we slow down and listen and observe, we get these downloads or these conversations, these connections to the natural world.
Inherent, inspired, the connection to the land, native people really had that connection to, and then they built all the speedy, the concretey stuff that keeps us disconnected. So, most of our viewers are really here for deeper self-love and teaching their children deeper self-love and stability practices and moving, the self-love and the love of other. And I'm curious what you'd love to share about that. Like, what if I'm watching this show right now and I'm like, okay, flower essences are my thing. They're really inspired by it. Where can they start?
Yeah.
Maybe they're like, I'm feeling insecure. There's a whole bunch of body stuff in the, in our society, and there's a whole lot of questioning, and I'm not very confident, or, how do I move through the spiritual blocks, or something's there? What would you suggest? Like, how would you take us through?
Yeah. So I liked what you said about a flower that you might have an affinity with, right? I think oftentimes the flowers appear to us. So go out into your world and see what flowers are around and see which one you have a connection with, and just sit with that flower and notice, what's the color, what does it do throughout the day? Like the sunflowers turn, what color is it? What is its structure? How does it work? Yeah, this one here, this is the California golden poppy. Let's talk about, so that would be my best way to use flower essences for self-love, is to find what flowers speak to you. And I think that, a lot of us can go outside right now and see this one, the California golden poppy, right? And so what do you notice about it? It's golden, and it's a cup that faces upwards. And it really is about, it's about finding balance in your spiritual life. It's about holding spirit and being able to take it in and incarnate it. And I think it's really, I think the essence of the California golden poppy also, it really speaks a lot to also the kind of the piece where some people are like hyper spiritualized, where everything is prayer and sacred and they can't quite bring that into an embodiment form. So kind of like where the bells of Ireland were like, you know, how do I bring my body into how do I bring my soul into the body? This one's more like, how do I take the soul out into more of like the universe? And let's see what
Is it like a being grounded in your spirituality and walking through the world that way?
well, let's look this up. The California poppy is finding spirituality within one's heart, balancing light and love, developing an inner center of knowing. So it holds that spirituality, right? It helps you to hold that spirituality so that you can know it and be able to freely interact with the world as a spiritual being. It stabilizes golden light of the heart, encouraging more self-responsibility and quiet inner development so that the soul can find the true treasure it speaks, the radiant sun force of the awakened human heart. So when people are like hyper spiritualized, it's I think that there's like this searching or this longing for more, and we already have it. So this holds it and brings it into our body and shows us like what, you know, our own divinity. And so the affirmation would be, I seek the true gold of self-knowledge. I find the world by looking within to find myself. I stand in the golden balance of my own heart.
Beautiful.
You know, when people are hyper spiritual, they're constantly seeking outside themselves for the spiritual experience, when really like
it's with ourselves.
Ourselves. So that one's a great one. And then the other flower that's out right now that people may not recognize so much as a flower, but is absolutely one of my favorites, is the wild milky oat. You know, you see this grass blowing in the breeze.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere right now.
You can go and like pick off all the seeds and throw them like little darts, right? So this one is exactly that. It's sowing your wild oats. This is actually milky oat. And it is about sowing your wild oats. It's about finding what your creativity is. It's about throwing caution to the wind and trying something new. It's about finding deep nourishment in that, because so the herbal medicinal aspect of the milky oats is, if you take, there's actually like, you know, when you have like breakfast oats and you have the little oat, the oat is inside of these little sheets. The oat is inside of there. And then the milky oat, the medicinal aspect of it is, if you squeeze it, a little bit of milk comes out when it's ripe. And that milk nourishes the nervous system and coats the nervous system. Oh gosh, I can't think of it now. The lining, the mucilaginous lining. Yeah, the myelin sheath. Thank you. So it feeds the myelin sheath. The milk is a similar chemical components as the myelin sheath around the nervous system, and then the root system is fibrous and hairy, and it goes down into the earth, like 10, 15 feet down and 10 out. So it goes down deep to get the minerals, and it brings it up. And so the plant has a really high mineral complex, a trace mineral complex in it. So you can drink the tea for the nervous system, and you can drink the tea for mineral balance. And then you can take the flower essence, because is to sow your wild oats, to help calm the nervous system, to help feed the nervous system, to help give you the minerals, the little tiny gems, the little tiny pieces that help make all of the connections in the body. So we can look at the herbal medicine aspect and see how the flower essence works as well. And with this one, this is about like sowing your oats, and then I love the iris. Most of you know what the iris looks like, right? It's purple and well, let's see. It's that wooden box. Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. The purple iris. have it? Will you find the iris for me, please?
I certainly will.
The purple iris is about creativity. Iris is the great goddess of like the rainbow of all the colors. And when you look at the iris, it has this like iridescence on it almost. And so it really is about like using that paintbrush, using that creativity to actually take the inspiration and the thought and then create with it. So I often pair the wild oat with iris. And I found this one when one of my mentors and healing artist friends and past office partner, Claudia Winning, from Quantum Levels Healing, who's watching. Hey, Claudia. She threw an empowerment summit, and it was creating consciousness through connection. And so it was the wild rose for the heart connection, this, and then there was one more. Oh, I think it was the white yarrow. Anyway, so I can start to like make formulations specifically for situations and people.
That's so cool. I love it.
I'm going to read Iris.
Completely, based on what your spiritual curriculum is. Like, you just give a download, and really take notes on what's going on for someone's life and pair exactly the plants that will help support their evolution. So awesome.
There are so many flowers and so many emotions. And yeah, it's a beautiful conversation with a really supportive friend. Is the way I like to approach it.
Well, I love that it's making it like tangible, because sometimes our spiritual curriculum is so inward and so deep of an evolutionary process to kind of grasp what the pattern is and what you're really working through on such a psychic, spiritual, emotional way, right? This is a tangible way to work with something that is deep internal journey sometimes for people, right? And it's beautiful because you can actually hold it in your hand, you can put it in your water, you can place your prayers in your water with, whatever curriculum you're working through at that time. It's a really tangible way to work your process. I like that.
It feels very, for me anyway, it feels like a very material way, like a very in this plane of existence way to connect to my higher self. Like it's like, yeah, like being friends with, like I get to hold the hand of my higher self and my spirit. It's really good like that. Okay, for any of you who are really resonant with Iris, I invite you I invite you to follow along with these affirmations. I build a home between earth and spirit.
I build a home between earth and spirit.
I work from the creative ground of my soul.
I work from the creative ground of my soul.
I paint the world with the soul's rainbow light.
I paint the world with my soul's rainbow light.
These are precious.
They are. See, it's just like my
love it.
Yeah, and so it's really amazing. And in sessions with people and situations and animals, and I've done flower essence for automobiles and like animate objects. The affirmations just come. They're there, and they're equally as beautiful as the ones that Patricia and Richard have created. Yeah, I want to just speak to some of the to some of the comments here. Our friend Amanda wrote, oftentimes they give me a song, and I think that that's a really beautiful piece. The flowers, when you listen, they give you the song, and the affirmations are there. And a lot of times, I don't know if any of you have heard the band Beautiful Chorus, but check them out. They have songs that are affirmations that they sing. And so I started to sing. I don't know any of them, and I'm not going to sing any, but I sing some of the affirmations that I've been working with flower essences for myself. So it's a really great paintbrush. Another flower that's out right now, and which is really great because I have an affinity with the yarrow plant, Achillea millefolium. One is that I also do I Ching readings, and the stalks are I use them for divination, separating them to find how to build a I Ching hexagram and then do a reading based on that. But so that's one of my loves of this plant. The other love is the medicinal use. I've been hiking or in the garden and someone gets a little cut and you can it's a styptic, it stops bleeding, and it's also antiseptic, so it's cleansing. So I can take the yarrow and chew it up and like stuff it in the wound, and it heals and stops bleeding amazingly. And that's it's Achillea millefolium because Achilles put it on his heel and like would take it into war to help like stop bleeding and keep his soldiers' wounds clean. But you see that there's like this flat top on this one, right? And it's white. And it's kind of like porous, but it forms this shield. So it's kind of like a little umbrella for the spirit. And it helps to fill in the porousness of the spirit. So when people have like I might pair this one with echinacea because it's great for the immunity, the immune system of the spirit, right? So when we have a porous spirit and the viruses or the bacteria or the pathogens on the soul level get in, and we have, this is a really great one to help shield us from that. And this one's a really common flower. It's out right now in Northern California as a wildflower. And it really is just one of, I use this. This is one of the ones that I use often in formulas because people often come because there's a weakness or deficiency within their soul that they want to heal. So with yarrow, the affirmation is right side up and upside down. My aura stands healed, and my aura stands healed and protected. My aura stands healed and protected.
My aura stands healed and protected.
I am strengthened by a shining shield of light.
I am strengthened by a shining shield of light.
I am this light, strong self.
I am this light, strong self.
Yeah. And that it's in bloom right now. This is the time when the sun is really just starting to get hot and intense. So this is really, it speaks to like putting that shield on now. We won't get like sunburned later, or it really helps us to build that shield so that when stronger etheric forces head our way, we're protected, and we can interact with them in a way that can be nourishing and nurturing.
Yeah, I'm really hearing you say, like, for those that are really psychically sensitive, right? For those that can't be in big crowds, or they're really, there's a lot of people out there. Like, I have some clients that have been this way. They don't understand how to shield themselves energetically from really intense things, and they pick up such information just on the collective. This sounds like a perfect plant to pair with someone that is really, really sensitive, highly sensitive. And it's not about dumbing down our sensitivity. Our sensitivity is our strength, right? So it's really learning to lean into it and give yourself permission to be psychically sensitive in that awareness, because it's fine-tuned awareness there. And you can support yourself with plant medicine to really strengthen that ability so that you can be open, expanded, attuned, and have that layer of protection.
Eloquently put. You're so wonderful. Thank you.
That just totally channeled through. I was just like, somebody needs to hear that today. I'm going to channel it through. There you go.
I did.
So for everyone watching, I invite you to share a little bit about what you're getting out of today's show, and how you start to see how even the flowers that just pop up in your garden, or the things that when you go for your walk, or how the delight or the attraction that you have can really start resonating with your spirit. And really utilizing that subtle energy, or the sweet, loving, what did I call it? Security blanket, the soft, warm, fuzzy security blanket of of the flower, of the natural world, to really hold you in your self-love, in your soul's healing, in your growth, like to help you walk forward in stability, right? I think that's so. I invite you to just share if anything like that's coming up for you, or what is coming up for you. The flower essences have really helped me just really refine my self-love, refine my growth and my path. And I'm so grateful when I do get to have a session with you, and I do get to make friends, deeper friends with the plants that I get to like be a part of.
Yeah, and it's a friendship. I mean, oftentimes in the language surrounding herbalism, you'll hear the plants called allies. And I see in the comments that Claudia, hi, nature is here to support us, right? Plant stands are more productive when they are harvested and sung to. They have chemical profiles and energetic profiles that are very specifically geared towards the human biome, that are little chemical packets or gifts for us, or energetic structure that is there to heal us. And I see Luna Hart was feeling the flowers so much this morning. I know just being in the garden, and it's a feeling, and it may not be the physical touch, but it's a vibrational resonant knowing and a feeling. Amanda loves developing the deeper relationship with the flowers and herself, and that's what it is. It's a relationship with the flowers and ourselves, and it's really just such an amazing, sweet. Yeah, they want and miss our openness to notice and listen, and that's what it is. It's about closing the eyes and the ears and the exterior ego, and listening with the ears and the eyes of the soul. And that's where the communication with the flowers opens up to us.
I just love this transmission so much, because it's supporting one to really lean back into self and know that the wisdom inside is guiding you forward, right? And that's self-love. And so utilizing gorgeous flowers, right? Flowers are such blessings in our life. They just spring forward so joyously to support us, and like, hey, look at me over here. I'm shiny and beautiful just for you in this moment, right here, right now, right? And it's like, oh, take the time to smell the roses in our life, right? And like, take the time to sit with self and attune to the inner garden, right? The inner garden of the soul, right? Like, there's the outer garden, but the inner garden is where the gems are. And this can really be such a vibrational support to allow yourself to tune deeper in to like what that medicine is. And each of us carry such wisdom.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not a practitioner, but I'm also like, yet there will be, yeah, and she's on a mission. There is this, like, when I feel like when I take my flower essences, that it's pulling out or whispering or teasing out my inner wisdom, like the knowing, like it's something. It's like when you remember something, when you have a memory from your, like a really sweet memory from in your childhood, and you're like, oh my God, I remember that. Like, it's kind of like having the affirmation or the flower is like having a memory to something I forgot. So it's a like, oh yeah, I knew that, I could protect myself and in the light of others. I knew that I could do this. I just forgot. Now it's like a reminder and a constant. Yeah.
It's your birthright.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're born, we are spiritual beings in an earthly realm, and yeah.
Having a human experience.
Having a human experience. And in East Asian medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, the 3 levels of heaven, and earth, heaven and human and earth, like humans are this conduit for heavenly energy and earthly energy, and it's our birthright to communicate with them and utilize them to get light from the moon, and to get energy from the sun, and to get ions from the waves, and salt from the sea, and medicinal plants from the earth. Yeah, and we also have our medicine, right? Like I'm a catalyst, so I get to imbue that medicine. You know, we are not above or separate from nature, although in our culture we are there is a larger separation from, and I think that's a big piece of the soul wound right now, is that we're not connected to nature.
Yes, I agree.
I agree too.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, like, that, to add to what you just said about not being connected to nature, it's the quickest way to attune to self is go sit in nature, sit with a tree, sit with, I had one of the deepest, powerful, profound personal ceremonies like years ago with myself, when I moved and bought a property and moved on. I did ceremony with a tree in my backyard just by myself. And I full on had an entire buck deer come out of the woods and lay down really close to me. I just sat still with my journal, and I sat in all the directions, and this deer came out. And that's when I knew it was like a deep confirmation in my soul at that moment. A full-on deer came, and it laid down and just looked at me. We just I soul gazed with this deer, and I knew from then on that I carry deer medicine in my spiritual walk of path as a native. Like, I have Native American blood, and even though I'm blonde and fair skinned, that's my ancestry. And so I knew it was a deep spiritual connection with nature and myself. That is such a way to honor yourself, your soul, your lineage, and heal actively what is coming forward for you in your curriculum at this time in your life. Is just go get in nature and really allow yourself to just get out of the mind, and get out and explore what that is, and even if you live in a city or in an apartment, this flower essences is a way back to that connection, and to honor the connection of valuing nature.
Yeah, actually, one more quick essence is corn. If you've ever seen corn growing, and you know that corn is in the native culture, in this region at least, is a very sacred plant. If you've seen corn growing, in the base it has these roots, it has the stalk, but it has these roots that literally do this. You see it coming out of the stalk. You want to pull the corn, you see it coming out of the stalk, and then there's the stalk, so that's earth, and then there's the stalk, which is human, and then there's these corns, the corn are these niblets of golden energy and wisdom, and packets of juiciness. And then out of the corn's in the sheath, and out of the sheath is the corn silk. And then the flower is actually on the top, and the flower is the heavenly part that lets its pollen drift down, and each corn silk is connected to one corn kernel. So each time we listen and allow heaven to touch our soul, we are nurturing the corn kernels to become this full juicy corn cob, right? And then it pulls up the sweetness from the earth to imbue into it also. But in Asia, where there's lots of apartments that are stacked really high on top of each other, Flower Essence Services sends truckloads of corn essence, because it helps us to connect to the earth so strongly that people that live in apartments have found that spraying it on their floor and putting it on their feet allows them, it keeps that channel open.
I love that.
So yeah.
So this is the corn stalks over here and here, and then this is the flower, and
that's our soul reaching out for wisdom from the heavens.
And for those of you who are resonant with corn, I walk in balance between heaven and earth.
I walk in balance between heaven and earth.
I remember my bond with earth.
I remember my bond with earth.
I share the earth's healing nourishment with all with all who I meet.
I share the earth's healing. What does it say it again?
I share the earth's healing nourishment with all whom I meet.
I share the earth's healing nourishment with all whom I meet. I love that.
We had corn last night.
We did have corn last night.
We were like, oh my God.
The sweetness of the earth.
So fun and popping.
I often put corn. I have this beautiful, I should go get it. It's this beautiful like wooden bowl, and I always put it on my altar. I put like, well, now I had rice and black-eyed peas, but it symbolizes for me, I put it as a representation of thank you, Spirit, for always providing just the sustenance of life, right? In all the ways. It goes so beyond food, right? But it's a physical, for me, it's symbolic. It's a physical representation of, I put rice and make it a little pattern like a mandala when I put it on there. And I always put a little dollop of honey to represent the sweetness of life. And I put that on my altar every time as like, thank you, Spirit, for providing. Like some people put fruit, and sometimes I do put flowers and fruit too, but it's just a sacred way of always honoring Spirit for always having our back and always providing, right? And corn is one of the things I put on there too. Like I just actually made it as an offering because I just cleaned my altar and did the whole thing, but I have a beautiful Kuan Yin, and this time I put the last altar's offering. I always take it and offer it back to the earth, right? And offer it back in gratitude for that altar's season, right? Of what it brought into my life and as completion. So I always offer it back in gratitude, and I put it around the Kuan Yin this time in a symbolic pattern. This is my own personal spiritual practice, but for those out there that, build an altar, like it's so important to me. And like, this is how we do it. This is how we integrate our spiritualness into the physical world, right? Through these beautiful practices and tools, flower essences. What a way to, change our world in such a powerful way.
For bringing the earthen love into the show, and thank you for sharing your flower essences with us. If you want a session with Michelle, you've typed in her information. Oh, that's right over here. Oh, wherever it is. You know where it is. It's in the comments section of this show, and you can find her information there and set up a telehealth session with Michelle Champion.
Yeah, I work at Lake County Tribal Health here in Lakeport, serving the tribal community, and I also just signed a lease with Trish, and I have an office that I'll be offering in person and telehealth flower essence consultations through. So reach out, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm available. Thank you so much for your listening today.
And just for our listeners, Lakeport is in California in the US. Just if you were curious.
Northern California.
Yeah.
We're nestled at the base of the youngest volcano and the oldest lake.
That's awesome.
And I would really like to thank Love Touch Academy for always, hosting us, being our muse, and just really teaching amazing, compassionate, great work in the world, and all of their coaches. And Sign Network for running us on multiple channels right now. And everybody who's watching, thank you so much. Dawn, it's always lovely. Come sit in our office. It's yours too.
Yes, I'm excited for when it's together. Exciting. And, I want to say thank you so much, Michelle, for showing up today in this just delicious offering for our viewers and everyone out there to really attune and understand flower essences deeper. Thank you. I'm so excited to delve in with you and do a telehealth session and kind of get my own. So, yeah, it's exciting. Like, this is such a great way to support your spiritual curriculum. I just love it. And grow your self-love, capacity to love ourselves deeper. It's beautiful.
Thanks for the self-love show. It's medicine for the world.
Yes. Yeah, we love exploring on the self-love show all the ways we can love ourselves, right? And that's like that it's been such a wild, fun adventure to do this show and have all our gorgeous guests. It's every week is such a gift. You know, it's such a gift. So thank you for the giftedness of your particular medicine and the way you help others. Like again, you're a catalyst. Thank you for showing up in that way. I really love and just respect you so much and honor you and honor your journey of where it's just beautiful to see you step into yourself in this way and be married and like the abundance of like the tribal health community and what you're doing. It's so good to see and such a beautiful thing.
It's very inspiring.
Yeah.
And moving.
Yeah.
Well,
And, oh, I just wanted to say one more thing. Maybe you could add the link, Trish, for our personal group. But I just wanted to add in, like, you know, for the viewers out there that are watching, Trish and I have a Facebook group. It's called Reclaim Your Trust for Women. And we are so excited. Come join us. We're having active, you know, times to really discuss like where your personal blocks with trust have been in your relationships, and you know, like let's deeply explore this. Trish and I are still on the back end building a gorgeous program and an offering coming soon, so just, you know, be patient with us. Like Spirit is divining this whole process through our hearts to yours. But in the meantime, like jump in the group. You know, I just posted a beautiful offering this week, and you know, it's an active place. It's free, you know, for any of our viewers to come on in that are women. This is a women's group, and please just join us. We really want to hear your heart, your medicine, what's on your heart, and your spiritual curriculum, and how to serve you best. So come on in, join us. It's free.
there you
go.
Well, we'll catch you next Thursday morning.
Yes. Have a beautiful week.